You're the man, Doc.
We're going to turn that affiliate into a partnership real soon, aren't we?
Yes.
Work hard.
Charging stud, charging stud, charging stud, charging stud. Yes! Yes! You pray! You pray! Done! What is that? Wait, what is that? I'm a Twitch fucking partner! Oh my god! Are you serious?
Oh my goodness! Woo! Arena World Champ! They're feeding you, Abby. This is like a petting zoo where you pay to feed the animals, except online. And we only have one animal. Turn. Check this out. This is why they are D combo. BP goes in, does some damage. That's it. His turn's over. But wait, what's that? 1,000 speed bar fill? How's this possible? It's time to do.
Hello, my name is Drew, and I would like to be the first one to welcome you and say thank you for joining us on the OPSEAT podcast. If you could do us a favor and just tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are.
So my name is Khasino. That's Khasino, and I am a professional streamer.
Incredible. And you've been streaming for quite some time. We're kind of curious, before streaming, when and how did you start gaming?
I have been gaming since games were a thing. So as a very, very young child, we were fortunate enough to have a computer. And so I would play like learning interactive books that were kind of like games. Like it involved sitting at a computer and clicking a thing to make something else happen, even though it was like, you know, like children's stories and stuff. But even then there were like interactive like shooter games, even though they were like set in the old west with like real life cutscenes basically, but you still clicked in certain areas to make stuff happen. And you know, I think my first console, if I'm not mistaken, was like a Sega Genesis, but I've pretty much been gaming since I, you know, first saw a mouse or a controller. So
That's awesome. Sega Genesis was definitely one of my first consoles as well. But taking all of that and everything that you've played with, you've gone through, how did you first get involved with wanting to stream or creating content on both Twitch and YouTube?
So I have always enjoyed comedy. It's always been one of my favorite things. And I think if I hadn't ended up pursuing streaming as much, that I probably would have pursued, or, you know, at least attempted to pursue some kind of a career in comedy. And so streaming ended up being this beautiful hybrid where I was able to pursue being an entertainer and playing video games, which are my two favorite things. I wasn't as much planning on making YouTube content. I enjoyed the live environment a lot more, but I learned from doing this that YouTube is the single best way to drive traffic to your Twitch stream, and it really gets your name out there. And especially now, my main game is a mobile game, and so mobile game players spend like they all have YouTube on their phones, whereas not everyone has like the Twitch mobile app or anything. So YouTube just became a necessary part of the whole thing. And I was fortunate enough to have a couple far more experienced YouTubers kind of take me under their wing and show me the ropes. And so I got all right at it in a pretty decent amount of time.
And that's awesome. Something that like a lot of successful content creators on Twitch don't necessarily touch on with the podcast is ways to drive traffic to your channel. And it's really cool to see that you've masked this audience on YouTube, you know, by playing a mobile game, by making content available to mobile players. Because you have about 10,000 YouTube subscribers now, which that's an incredible milestone, and that's awesome.
Just hit that a couple days ago, so thank you.
Hey, congratulations. And knowing that you're playing mobile games most of the time on both Twitch and when you upload to YouTube, when did you start getting into Marvel's Strikeforce, one of your most popular mobile games?
So Marvel Strike Force, I would have to give you some of the history, but so basically I was a full-time League of Legends streamer, and
Okay.
for of a variety of reasons, that stream eventually broke down, at least the way I was trying to run it, and I had to go back to working. I ended up driving for Uber to basically like rebuild. I had my eyes set on another PC game, and so I needed to save up for another gaming PC and try to have a cushion of money so I could take time off and try to launch that stream. And so I could never, cut video games out of my life, but I couldn't bring my gaming PC on the road. So I just picked up a Marvel mobile game that I would play while I was, parked or whatever, just while I was out, because you always have your phone on you. And that game I enjoyed and I did pretty well. It was Marvel Contest of Champions, but one of the things I noticed about that game was I never enjoyed it to the fullest potential that I could have, because I started like a couple years into that game, and so I just missed some of the things that were available in different amounts to newer players. So one of the big content creators for that game, actually I think the biggest content creator for that game, made a video saying that Marvel Strike Force was something that was going to be coming out. And I thought, oh, this is still Marvel. It's a mobile game, and it's something I can get into not just day one, but I got in during soft launch when it was exclusive to Australia and Canada, neither of which are where I live. So I was like, hey, this is my opportunity to be part of a mobile game from early on. And so I jumped on it. And then, I realized from there that there were so few people who had started then that by the time the game launched a few months later, I was easily one of the most experienced, and I think I was in the top 100 already at that point for the players. And so,
And that's incredible, that the way that you're able to use that foresight and be like, let's ride the wave of this new launch. Um, Now, streaming mobile games, are there any technical hurdles that you experience while streaming them that other streamers on Twitch might not encounter?
yes and no. Certainly. So, especially with this game being so new. Um, so, for example, I was no stranger to Android emulators, which
Hmm.
is how you would simulate a phone on your PC. And that's normally the easy solution. You just download the emulator, and then you have a phone that's on your computer, basically, and you just play it. But so this game was so new that for one reason or another, there were all kinds of different reasons why it didn't work on one emulator, and then it kind of worked on another emulator, and it worked on a third one, but all the text was upside down. And yeah, it's just all this weird stuff.
That's
And
an
so
interesting one.
I eventually found another app through Chrome called Visor that would stream the content of my phone screen to my desktop, and then I would stream my desktop to Twitch. And so I was actually still playing on my phone, and that's what was streaming. And I did that as a workaround until finally it worked properly on the emulators. So nowadays, nothing too crazy, but it was quite the challenge back in the day. And if you're a Mac user, it's still quite the challenge.
Yeah. Uh, Poor Mac users don't really always get the nice gaming, like, what would be the proper way to put it? They don't really get the
Treatment.
game. Yeah, the proper treatment. They
I
don't
mean,
get that.
PC gaming is aimed at Windows PCs more. Sorry,
um,
Mac people.
So you've amassed this audience with over, like, it's an average of over 150 viewers on Twitch. You get thousands of views on all your YouTube videos. Now, having this audience, do you feel like it ever dictates the direction that your stream goes?
Uh, Probably some. So I yes and no. I mean, I try to always have my integrity in terms of like I won't. There's certain things I won't do just to appease the audience, but also there's kind of a running gag that I'm the sellout king, in that I make it very clear from the get go that for most things I have a price, and I'm just upfront with that. I will be a total sellout, and I will be a better sellout than anyone else. So I do some really goofy stuff. So like just off the top of my head, most recently someone donated to see me wear a shirt fully made of bacon, raw bacon. things like that where someone will be like, would you do this? And I'm like, I don't see why not for the right price. So a lot of my content comes from the audience, kind of giving them what they want. But it's if there's something I really, really want, like it doesn't, I don't care if 4 viewers support me and all the rest are against it. Like if I feel it needs to be done or it's what I want to do, I'll do it. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you try to cater to your audience. So there's definitely like one of the things that I do, there's a small amount of people that will watch. So I do roster reviews in the game where I'll look at someone's roster and give them notes. And there is a small core group of people that like to see that process. But most people find it really boring just watching me type and kind of muse out loud to myself, not a lot of chat engagement while I'm doing it. And so I've kind of stopped streaming that because it just seems like most people would just rather watch something else anyway. So I'm not, not going to shove it down their throats or whatever. But by and large, it's a lot of chat engagement. But it's like if your stream would be exactly the same with 2 viewers or exactly the same, whether you looked at chat or not, maybe you're missing out on one of the benefits of streaming, which is that you can engage people in real time. Like a ton of my content, one of the things we do is we bet in real time, not with actual money. Well, occasionally with real money, but mostly we bet with the in-game channel currency on like outcomes in the game. And so, an instance will come up in the game and, there was no way to know what it was going to be until it was randomly generated. And then we jump in and then people are placing bets. Like, is it going to be a win or a loss? And it's live engagement. So my stream would be radically different in almost every way if my audience were different. So
that's a fantastic answer, and that's actually really fun that you engage your audience with that. And like the betting with the in-game currency is a really fun way to drive that engagement. Now, if people from your community were wanting to create not similar content, but they wanted to stream Marvel Strikeforce or even another mobile game, what tips and tricks would you give them besides chat engagement to maybe become a successful streamer?
Oh, I love this question. So obviously, specifically for Marvel Strikeforce, I have tons of game-specific advice, but most of the people watching this will probably be here less for the game-specific advice and more for the general streaming advice. And so I have one streaming rule above all else. And I guess I should ask before I say this, profanity okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, just making sure. But so there's one really, really important question you absolutely have to have the answer to if you want to be a content creator, no matter what game. And that question is, why should we give a shit?
Mm-hmm.
You need an answer to that, and it's so mind-blowing to me that almost nobody who starts off streaming has an answer to that question of like, why would we watch you? And there's a lot of cop-out answers like, well, I'm a really nice guy. We're all about positivity here. It's like, all right, well, how many communities are advertising themselves like we're all about negativity here? Like, it's just, hey, check out my newest video. Why? Why should we watch? Why should we care? Now, if you actually have an answer, and it can be something silly like a gimmick, like, I'm the only cowboy that plays sci-fi games, whatever it is, and they just wear a cowboy hat every stream. Like, at least it's something. Not every answer to that question has to be the best answer, but any answer is better than no answer. So if you want to get into content creation, streaming, making videos, you better have a good reason for why people should give a crap. Because if you can't tell them why they should care, then like if anyone should be able to tell them, it should be you.
Exactly. And this might be a hard question, but it seems you might have answered this yourself. Why should everybody watch, twitch.tv/Khasino?
Oh, that is literally the natural follow-up that I get every single time I mention this. Everyone goes, that is a good question. What's your answer? Very, very fair. I have quite a few answers. So for so many reasons. I mean, for one, I try to bring a unique brand of humor to everything that I do. Specifically within the game that I play, I always try to make it like plenty of streamers are more successful because their main selling point is their personality. And I hope people like me, but I don't try to change myself too much to appeal to as many people. I rely more on my knowledge of the game. Like, you can like me or you can hate me, but my gameplay tips will make you a better player, even if you can't stand me as a person. So in terms of my game specifically, I'm one of the longest playing players. I think I'm in the top 150 players right now of, I think, millions. I've got over a year playing, and the game's only been out like I think 9 months. I've got some of the most playing experience. I own every single character that you can possibly have unlocked. So there's just so many reasons why that my information that I can pass on is good stuff to learn. But then also, just fun, goofy stuff. It's the only stream where you can make wagers on goofy compositions and see which teams beat other teams. And I occasionally get leaked info from the developers or other sources, so you never know. Like earlier to downstream, I debuted some information that the only place to get it was my stream. It's where you'll hear it first. And just crazy general shenanigans. We got a lot of characters on the stream, and as you get to know them, they're pretty funny. My girlfriend regularly crashes the stream because she has no respect for streaming as a profession whatsoever. So she'll just randomly start shouting at me during the stream with no regard for how it makes me look. So,
and through all that, that is a fantastic answer, because I'll be 100% honest with you. Through 3 years of myself being on Twitch, I have never seen somebody wear a shirt made of bacon, having to cover their chair with a garbage bag to be able to do that. That was actually,
you saw that?
It was fun. Yes. I try to make sure I do a little bit of research about all the channels that we're interviewing, and that clip actually, it brought a smile out of my face. That was hilarious.
I've done very goofy things like that in the past, and like I said, because I have a price for anything, fortunately I won this bet, but I did make a wager where if I lost, I would have to shave an eyebrow. I have for $1,000 donation made out with another guy, which for the record, I happen to be heterosexual. So yeah, just general goofy shenanigans, but yeah, try to keep it entertaining.
And through all this, it's at the core of it, you're bringing a lot of entertainment, and at the core of it, you're playing games like Marvel Strike Force. Why do you think there might not be as many people streaming mobile games or Marvel Strike Force in particular on the platform?
Well, a big reason why there are fewer people streaming Marvel Strike Force on the platform is the way this game is designed. It's a mobile game, and with few exceptions, mobile games have a cap. Like they allow you to only make so much progress each day, and then you would have to pay to keep making progress. So unlike games like League of Legends or PUBG or Fortnite or whatever, where you could literally just play morning and night if you wanted a 24-hour stream, it is really, really difficult to get more than 3 hours of content out of this game. So that's the first reason. And then the second reason is you typically only stream it if there's room for growth. And so I am the top Marvel Strike Force streamer on Twitch. So it's not like I can look to some other streamer and be like, one day I'm going to have 10,000 viewers for this game. I set the benchmark for what the viewers are for this game. There's just not that many people looking to watch live streams of it on Twitch. More people will watch on YouTube, but at the end of the day, it's a mobile game, and right off the bat, mobile game players tend to be far more casual. And so if you're not in the top 5 mobile games in the world, then there's just not that many people even looking to watch it. But I figure I got to start somewhere, and I've had several unique opportunities to do something with this game. So I have been to the developers' offices and gotten to get footage of upcoming characters before they release and debut that on my channel. And so I've had some unique advantages. And so for the time being, I'm still really enjoying the game, and I'm seeing where that goes.
And that's actually really cool. And that's not something you typically hear, especially for bigger games, being invited to the offices and things like that. But being a content creator that kind of sets the benchmark in their field, or their game, or on Twitch, the directory, did you ever think that you'd be able to beat the odds and gain as much success as you did?
Well, I mean, I had to believe that I could do it, or I wouldn't have been pursuing it. But so I'm also realistic, so I have to believe in myself that I can make a career streaming. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. And I do believe that I'm at least capable of getting by, which fortunately is where I'm at now, is I'm able to make a living doing this full time. I don't think I ever had delusions of grandeur, thinking I'm going to be the next ninja playing this mobile game or anything like that. But I'm constantly surprised by the amount of support that I get. I never would have guessed that I would have had this many viewers, the amount of donations that I get. Like I never expected it to go as far as it has. So I'm just kind of, seeing where it goes at this point. My only goal was to make enough to be able to do this for a living. And like I used to work in health insurance and I made quite a bit more money, but this is the dream. So,
And go ahead.
No, just my goal has been to just be able to get by and say that this is what I do. So, beyond that, we'll see.
And that's incredible. And a lot of streamers, they look towards where they're going, and if we take a look about where you've been, what would you say your like most memorable moment, like gaining all this success, has been?
Oh, well, I had one that just jumped to mind, but I've had a lot of memorable moments, but a lot of them, what jumps to my mind are like times when I made more money than I was expecting, but I don't want that to come off as though like this is a money venture for me, because again, I'm making considerably less money than doing other things. But when I do have days where I'm able to make a good amount of money, it's like validation that I can do this. And of course, well, I don't know your personal experience, but I would assume most streamers are told by their immediate friends and family, like, yeah, but when are you getting a real job? And people just don't understand it, don't believe it. So for me, like the biggest victories are when I have a day where I'll get a bunch of donations or something, like, see, I told you there's enough of a demand for this kind of content. I can do this. And it's like, making my own way in the world, being my own boss. So for me, I'm working on the goal of financial freedom from doing this. And then I can really turn my gaze on doing things that are really impactful in communities and stuff like that. But so I think the day that stands out for me as like the most jaw-dropping one was a day where I was still driving for Uber, and I had a bunch of viewership. We'd just been steadily averaging more and more viewers more or less each day, and people were asking, are you going to stream the next 3 days? And I was like, no, I have to drive for Uber on the weekends. And I think someone had asked, like, well, how much would you have to make to not have to go driving this weekend? And I explained, like, well, it's not that, like, there's bonuses, so I can't just take one day off. Because their question was like, what would we have to donate for you to not work tomorrow? And I was like, well, it's not just that. If I took one day off, I wouldn't just miss the one day, but then I wouldn't hit the bonus from the 3 days. So, it was like a lot of money, like way more than I would ask you guys to pitch in. And then suddenly giant donations came in, and I think we made like over $2,000 that day. And I never drove for Uber again. So
That's incredible.
That was a pretty memorable day.
Yeah. And it certainly would be, as like sometimes we don't expect the support as content creators, and like overwhelming support just shows like a love for your content and the creators themselves. So you're right, it's not just about money, it's about just through support, and like just it's endearing to like be able to receive that. And although we have our memories and we look towards the future and stuff like that, what would you say your biggest accomplishment was? Not just about like monetary advances or being able to stop working for Uber. Was it partnership, or was it getting to that point?
Probably. I never really thought about it. So full disclosure here, you're the first person I've talked to who has made the scope of what I've accomplished so far actually sound like it was worthwhile accomplishments. So I mostly am chasing
100%. It is though.
Well, so I know it's not nothing, and I know that I'm very fortunate to be a full-time content creator. Like, don't get me wrong, I wake up every day incredibly thankful for that. But just hearing you say, like, you're averaging this many views, you've got this many subs on YouTube, and saying it as like, oh, that's quite the accomplishment. But so I mostly talk to other content creators who've been showing me the ropes, who, I've got 10,000 subs on YouTube, they've got 150,000. So I just feel like, it's just, no one even notices. And then, I talk to sponsors, and they'll ask questions like, all right, how many views are you averaging? Oh, not even 1,000 yet. All right, well, maybe reach out again next month, stuff like that. So maybe I just have big eyes and I'm always shooting high, but I always look at it as just like, I could be doing much better, but this is the price I pay for trying to do it my way as opposed to doing it one of the more tried and tested ways that I feel like is too much pandering and too much not being genuine. But I would say that you'd said besides the transition to being a full-time content creator, but for me that was the big win. But so I guess beyond that, my biggest accomplishment, all I can think is my I guess my viewership record. I just started. Well, yeah, actually, so let's walk back. Having made enough of a splash to have the developers interested in having me come to their offices, that was a very, very validating experience. So I think that's got to be up there. It's like being a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, that's really truly something to, be proud of. And I think something that a lot of content creators, we always have big eyes. We're always looking, forward. And I say big eyes just like you said, because we're always looking for, the next thing, the next step, the next goals that we have. But, it's nice to be able to validate yourself and realize that, if you think about it, if you have 150 people on average watching you, sure, we're not Shroud, we're not Ninja, but imagine yourself in front of 10 people, 50 people, 150 people that you have their attention. It's incredible if you just imagine yourself being a teacher of a classroom, because you're very, information based. Like they have your attention, and that's an incredible amount of people if you average 150 people just watching you.
It is, and the main reason that I would love a big audience more so than just whatever innate compulsion people gravitate towards comedy have for just being attention whores in general, obviously myself included. But I want a troll army. That may be taboo to say, but I am really excited at the prospect of having a troll army. Some of my favorite pranks of all time, you can just do some of the most amazing, obviously like harmless pranks, not like actually terrorizing people, but so I always point to this. There's a group called Improv Everywhere. If you're not familiar with them, they're literally like an improv group, but it's just a big network of people. I think they started in New York, and it's like one of the pranks they did is back when the uniforms in Best Buy were the blue polo shirt and khaki pants. They just rung up like 100 people and said, "Hey, put on a blue polo shirt and khaki pants. We're all going to Best Buy," and that's it.
Hilarious.
They just went to Best Buy dressed in blue polo shirts and khaki pants. But of course, this caused mass pandemonium. Even though they weren't doing anything, they weren't messing with anything, and the owners of the store didn't know how to react. They called the cops, and the cops like, "You want us to arrest people for wearing a blue shirt and khaki pants?" Like it was just complete chaos. It was really funny and stuff like that. And so I would love a troll army because the things you can do with enough people. So like one of the things that we did, this was our first little venture into being a troll army on the internet, is I have merch on Amazon. And so I challenged people to write just the craziest reviews they could possibly write for my t-shirt. And so if you look at the reviews on my t-shirt, there's just review after review that's like, "This shirt changed my life. I immediately got laid as soon as I put it on." Just yeah, just all this great stuff. I did the exact same thing. Even when I was driving for Uber, I always asked people to leave me like really, really ridiculous reviews, even as a driver. So yeah, the idea of having a large troll army and being able to, leave 1,000 comments on some random website that all, rant and rave about some buffalo jerky, whatever it is, like just the idea to just make people go, how many people participated in this totally irrelevant prank? I would love to have that influence one day.
Beautiful. It's like the flash mob of Twitch, but
Exactly.
Totally different like realm. And it's wonderful that like you're going to use that for comedy. That'll be funny. I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, and if the day comes where I have the financial resources to really mess with the world, like I would totally like buy street names and rename them to ridiculous things, rent billboards just to put preposterous things on billboards that people would have to see as they're driving by. Like I'd love to just introduce a little bit of harmless chaos into the world. So
And I
maybe
would
one
say
day.
there's nothing wrong with that. And then just with this whole journey of, whether you're going to be getting to that point where you can, have the harmless chaos or to where you are now, everything before, were there any hurdles that you had growing your channel that you didn't expect? And how did you overcome them?
Definitely a lot. I wouldn't say I didn't expect them. I would say that, I didn't expect them to varying degrees that they showed up, but there's always the hurdles. Um, this one's more so the first successful stream that I had. I was a full-time League of Legends streamer, but that's a very, very hard game to break into just as a streamer. And basically, you have three main avenues you can go with League of Legends streaming. You can be really, really, really good. You can be really, really, really entertaining, or you can be a girl. And so obviously that one was out for me. I was good, but I was not. No one was watching me because I was so good. Like I could teach most players things because I think I was in like the top 5% of the player base, but 67 million players worldwide. So there was like 200,000 better players just in North America. So I wasn't like rank 1 at anything. And then I was entertaining, or at least I like to think I was, but I wasn't. I know what it looks like when some streamers are just crazy and they're always ranting, raving, and shouting, and some people are just a bit more of a hooligan than I am, which I get. That's entertaining to some people, but for me to do that, I would have to be disingenuous, and I'd rather be myself. So I had to come up with a way to make it work, and I came up with a game show, and people were predicting the outcomes of what was going to happen in a given match, and they would win prizes. And the idea I had for it, I saved up a few $1,000. It's a interesting story. It's probably the only good story I've got in terms of streaming. But so I had been working in health insurance, and I got to a point where I had a few $1,000 saved up, and I was at a crossroads where I had to decide, basically, do I want to be responsible, pay off some of the debt that I have, put a little aside for savings, and try to accept my role in the world, and start a modest life, or risk it all, buy nothing but thousands of dollars worth of in-game video currency and give it all away for free and see if we can make something happen. But you get one life, and so I figured, if this is the dream, I have to at least try to make it work, and if it fails, it fails, but at least I'm not left wondering, like, what if I'd gone for it. So I spent thousands of dollars on video game currency, and I gave it all away for free, and it actually worked. It was going pretty well, and I got an investor to come in on the thing, and that was my whole goal. Was like, I had saved up enough to demonstrate over a couple months that it would work. But I think by the time I did my very first stream, we were right around like 100 viewers, and I think we were like 150 or 200 by the end of like the first week. It was going really well, and so I had an investor in on it. And so the unexpected hurdle there came from, after like a couple months of I would say things going swimmingly, did hit a point where it started to plateau, but it started to plateau because we had hit all the benchmarks to get partner, but we weren't being partnered. I found out after the fact it's because it had the word gambling in the stream title, and the advertisers didn't want to affiliate with gambling, even though it involved no real money gambling. It was just the word. But so it felt like, everyone's just like, what's going on? Like, we've got the viewership, like, why are we not getting partnered? Why are we not getting acknowledged? And so it kind of plateaued. And then the investor had issues in his own personal business dealings and pulled out one day without warning. And that was an unexpected hurdle, when it was like all the financial support got yanked and just suddenly had to scramble and recover. And because the point of that stream was based on being a game show with prizes, suddenly I was a game show without prizes, and it's not my favorite recovery time, which ultimately ended up with me back driving for Uber. So a bit of a hurdle.
Yeah. And it's awesome to see that you were able to take that and, not only reinvent, the game show, but like reinvent the stream and, take it in the direction that you did and still find the success that you have. That's not something that a lot of people can do. You're able to ask yourself the what if question, put all your eggs in one basket, and that basket just dropped. But you were able to find another basket and find more eggs, and it's crazy to see that you're growing, and you're no longer a League of Legends streamer, and now you get to be a benchmark, and that's incredible.
Yep. And I was motivated by I've read, not that I like really spend a lot of time reading like inspirational stories from other people and whatnot, but I forget where I've come across this, but I think like on some websites there's like galleries of like successful people quotes and stuff that'll just come up, and a couple of the like newer people who've made it, like people who started PayPal and stuff like that, Napster. I forget which one of them. One of them had a quote that basically said like, "Oh, I tried like 20 companies. You hear about me because of the one that actually worked. Like I just kept trying it until I got one to work, and then it didn't matter how many failed because one took off." So I was like, I learned enough from the failure, and I saw enough things that I did right that I think if I fixed the things I did wrong and kept the things I did right, I'll either get really close to something that works or something that works.
And that's something that I think a lot of our listeners or just a lot of creators in general is just keep trying because not everything works, and it's just the ability to recognize how to grow from that is ultimately what's going to bring you success. And there's a lot of tools that we use along the way, whether it be the gaming show or finding investors for it or just trying different games, but bringing everything to like a hardware perspective. What would you say one of your favorite peripherals that you used on the day-to-day basis with your channel was?
Favorite peripheral? I don't think I really have a favorite peripheral, so I now have a 2 PC setup, but back when I got the first PC, it was it was on Black Friday. I was getting a bunch of the stuff, and I'd gone to Best Buy. I forget, they had some part on sale, Best Buy cheap, and that day all Logitech stuff was 50% off.
Oh,
and
wow.
so I was like, yeah. So I was like, no. I don't really have a strong preference one way or the other. So give me Logitech stuff. So I got a Logitech keyboard, Logitech mouse, Logitech webcam, Logitech headset, and just didn't really put much thought into it. And it ended up working out. Now that so this was all back in Florida, and I ended up a company that makes tools for live streamers, a startup out here, had hired me and flew me out to California. I'm no longer with them, but it's how I got out here. And so it just so happened once I got out here, Logitech was looking for people to give like feedback on basically I forget the word, but like product demos and stuff, like prototypes and stuff. And so I started doing that, and now I have a decent relationship with that group over at Logitech. And every time I go see them, it's like Christmas. I get to check out all this new unreleased stuff and give feedback on products that one day I'll be able to go to a store and buy based on my suggestions for how to improve it. And then they always have stuff just hanging around the office, like always just headsets and mice and keyboards. Every time I go there and they want to pay me for the feedback, I'm like, just give me whatever you got lying around the office. My stream loves giveaways, so I come back like Santa with mice and keyboards and headsets to give away. So I ended up just kind of becoming a Logitech fanboy, but I didn't put too much thought in the specific peripherals. Recently, I got a new green screen from a sponsor, and I bought a ring light. So kind of digging those things, but yeah, no, for me, it was never about the hardware. Like, obviously, you don't want to use like a standard Dell mouse, but
yeah,
like, as long as the keyboard and the mouse have some extra buttons on them and it's not like a preposterous shape, like, not a big deal to me.
well, there you go. Now, just out of pure curiosity from us at OPSEAT, and probably your community as well, do you have any like big plans in the works for either where you want to take your stream or the game that you're playing?
I always have big plans, but it's just a matter of realizing them. So it's not like big plans I haven't shared with people, but my immediate goal was to build a streaming studio. Like I said, I know other content creators who are like a few years ahead of me, and so they kind of shown me like this was the track I was on and how I got from where you are to where I am. And they're pretty consistent, and so it kind of gave me the visuals. And so my plans for the immediate future right now, I have roommates. I would love to get my own place and ultimately set up a streaming studio. And if I could have a whole room designed for streaming, then I could fill it with all sorts of cool and crazy stuff and bring all sorts of props and stuff in for the stream. That was my immediate goal, and then that changed a few days ago. My dog completely ruptured her CCL, which is a doggy ACL at the dog park. So it went from like, yeah, I'm starting to save up some money, maybe build a streaming studio, to now I'm thinking it's looking like we're going to do like a 24-hour stream fundraiser, try to get some extra money because my dog needs like a $4,000 surgery. So
That's terrible.
more,
And I feel for your dog, and just
No, it's all right. I don't like talking about it because it's like people are here for like video game live stream stuff and not like an ASPCA commercial about like a sad limping dog. So I try not to talk about it, but that's the immediate plans is maybe doing some crazy shenanigans during a 24-hour stream, do a bunch of Twitch bounties, stuff like that.
well, there you go. And just out of everything that we've talked about and everything that you know that might be in the future, is there anything else you wanted to leave us with the OPC podcast?
Just yeah, just stay tuned. If being part of a troll army sounds like a good time to you, stop in. If you are looking for a new mobile game, I recommend trying Marvel Strikeforce. I am an official content creator, and I've been an Alpha Zero tester for an upcoming MMORPG called Ashes of Creation. So if you like MMOs, that's my favorite type of game, and so I'll be I stream that game from time to time already in its Alpha 1. But yeah, just as things are going, they seem to be trending in the right direction. So if anything you heard made you sound like you want to be part of the movement, I hope this continues to go in the direction I'd like it to, and you can certainly be part of it. And I try to be as available as possible. So I will say I am more involved with my community than any of the other content creators know. Like they've all told me you get to a point where you can't just let anyone PM you. You'll get too many messages and you can't just respond to every ad. You can't read every comment on every video. And it is certainly to the point where it is preposterous to do. But it's a fun challenge for me to try to read every message and respond to every person. So even though as soon as I wake up, I have 30 people to respond to. I enjoy that challenge. So if you would like to be part of it before I inevitably cannot respond to everyone, yeah, let's I can still take on a bit more. So
That's incredible to hear, and we truly have to say, and we want to say thank you so much for joining us on the OPC podcast. And if you like what you heard, check out twitch.tv/Khasino or his YouTube channel as well. Again, thank you so much for being on.
And thank you for the share. My back thanks you greatly.
Thank you.